All right. So, part four, Charlie's starting to realize kind of who his friends are. So, looking at April 21st, still didn't go into the factory. I told Mrs. Flynn, my landlady, to call and tell Mr. Donegan I was sick. Mrs. Flynn looks at me very funny lately, like she's scared of me. Why do you think Mrs. Flynn would be scared of Charlie? Why do you think Mrs. Flynn would be scared of Charlie? Why do you think she's starting to get scared of him? Okay. Okay. I like it. I like where you're thinking. Um, I think you're starting to understand Charlie a little bit. So um, I think it's a good thing about finding out how everybody laughs at me. I thought about it a lot. It's because I'm so dumb and I don't even know when I'm doing something dumb. People think it's funny when a dumb person can't do things the same way they can. Anyway, now I know I'm getting smarter every day. I know punctuation and I can spell good. I like to look up all the hard words in the dictionary and remember them. I'm reading a lot now, and Miss Kitty says I read very fast. Sometimes I even understand what I'm reading about, and it stays in my mind. There are times when I can close my eyes and think of a page, and it all comes back like a picture. Besides history, geography, and arithmetic, Miss Kitty said I should start to learn a few foreign languages. Not just one, but a few foreign languages. Dr. Strauss gave me some more tapes to play while I sleep. I still don't understand how that conscious and unconscious mind works, but Dr. Strauss says not to worry yet. He asked me to promise that when I start learning college subjects next week, I wouldn't read any books on psychology, that is, until he gives me permission. Notice Charlie's going from reading Robinson Crusoe in 2 weeks to now starting college subjects. I feel a lot better today. I guess I'm still a little angry that all the time people were laughing and making fun of me because I wasn't so smart. When I become intelligent, like Dr. Strauss says, with three times my IQ of 68, then maybe I'll be like everyone else and people will like me and be friendly. I'm not sure what an IQ is. Dr. Niemer said it was something that measured how intelligent you were, like a scale in the drugstore weighs pounds. But Dr. Strauss had a big argument with him, and he said an IQ didn't weigh intelligence at all. He said an IQ showed how much intelligence you could get, like the numbers on the outside of a measuring cup. You still had to fill the cup up with stuff. Then when I asked Bert, who gives me my intelligence tests and works with Algernon, he said that both of them were wrong. Only I had to promise not to tell them he said so. Bert says that the IQ measures a lot of different things, including some of the things you learned already. And it already isn't any good at all. So I still don't know what IQ is, except that mine is going to be over 200 soon. I didn't want to say anything, but I don't see how, if they don't know what it is or where it is, I don't see how they know how much of it you've got. Dr. Niemer says I have to take a Rorschach test tomorrow. I wonder what that is. Couple things about IQ. So if they are using an IQ test to measure Charlie's intelligence, why do all three doctors disagree on what it is? Yeah, they do. They do. And I think you're right. I think there's a difference in the way that they look at it is that one is a scientific way, right? Like you said, it's a way of measuring the scientific number. And then that's not necessarily a mean thing, right? That's one of those things that you can look at scientifically and say, this is how much you can possibly understand. But I think you're right, is that if you look at it in a way that is nice and helps people out, It's a matter of what you've learned, right? And what you could possibly learn, and that you could just continue to learn. And that just takes time and it takes effort. And I think that's what you mean by in a mean way. Am I right? Okay. So I think you're spot on with that. Do you remember what the Rorschach test is? Do you remember doing that in class or a version of it in class? Yep. Those were those ink blots. Remember when we did those ink blots? Um, yes, yes. Um, spot on. Now, why doesn't Charlie remember those ink blots? That's a good way to put it. When he was old Charlie, I do think you're right. I think he's having trouble remembering what occurred at that time. I think you're spot on, Mercedes. Outstanding. Good deal. So again, you have just one quick question about um, the comprehension of the text, and then one more ACE response, and that's it for today. Pretty easy, quick day for you. Cool.